like Joe Burrows, and the guy is very humble. One of the best Heisman Trophy speeches I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Great, and he showed his love and his affection to his coach and his team and the fans out there, and over there for LSU. What I don't like about Joe Burrows is his social media. If he's posting these things up, he's bragging about these 3 wide receivers. Who's better than these 3 wide receivers in the league?
The Buccaneers.
I mean, seriously. And Joe, you haven't been on the field in almost a year. You tore your ACL and MCL. And, yes, you look good when you're on the field. Let's see what you can do now coming back from an injury like that. Carson Wentz didn't look good when he came back from an injury like that. So let's see what you could do instead of bragging and opening a big fat mouth. I like Joe. I really do. I root him on. I think he's a kid to root for. But the guy is bragging and opening his big mouth. And let's see what Joe does this year with the talent that he has around him. Because if it's a bust year from the lack of talent that he had the year before that, year and a half ago when he was a rookie, a lot of people are going to take shots at him, especially when you saw Carson Wentz at an MVP season. He fell off, tore his ACL and MCL, trying to run a touchdown in, and he was an MVP candidate. Fall out. Tom Brady wins the MVP, and the year after he looked like garbage.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Bengals in the last couple
of years. And by the way, when he got hurt, they won the Super Bowl.
Looks like Jeff has returned.
What is up, Mr. Jeffrey? What's going on, Jeff?
You, man. Only you. The dude's a young dude. He posts on social media. He likes his 3 wide receivers. Only you want to hate on this guy. You're the only guy on the planet that hates confidence, doesn't like that his dude's hyping up his own wide receivers. He's trying to get some confidence. Only you. You're the biggest hater on the planet, bro. You hate anyone having fun. You are the Roger Goodell of life. You hate fun.
First of all, I love fun. I just want to see what this kid could do, being that he's been out for almost a year and a half, year and a few months. And this guy, I love Joe Burrows.
First of all, he hasn't been out a year and a half because
he missed. What did he play? 3 games?
He got hurt week 10 or something.
Did he play 3 games? 10. All right.
So that's like.
All right. So he's missed 8 months.
Basically.
Okay. So he missed 8 months of football.
He didn't miss 8 months. He missed 2 months.
November.
Because everyone else.
November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September.
Right, but everyone else has missed that time too.
I understand, but he's been out for a significant amount of time. He wasn't practicing in the offseason. He's been healing his knee. So, again,
he's still working out?
I'm sure he is, but he's not working out like some of these players.
Only you hate fun. You're hating on this kid. Let him have fun.
I'm not hating on him. By the way, I missed you, Jeff. I have.
Let the kids have fun.
What are you? First of all, let's talk about your Patriots. Up 35-0 against this Eagle team. That looks
they're
horrendous.
Going to force me because I also had the over, which. Jesus Christmas. I would have hit the over if our stupid kicker would have made his kicks. Bum.
Well, what are your thoughts about the so far this preseason of the Patriots?
I don't like what I see. No. I don't like what I see. How's that?
Okay, so what did you think about losing Hunter for a significant amount of time when you were very up? Hunter Henry? Yes.
Dude, it's not that big of an injury. They're just keeping him out as a precaution. He'll be ready to go week 1.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are
ready to go.
What are your thoughts of the Jets losing Carl Lawson? Was that a significant loss for the Jets?
I mean, I think it is a big loss for the Jets. You guys were really counting on Carl Lawson as far as he was from every Jets fan's mouth, from CJ to Kevin Jackson to you. Every Jets fan was like, no, Carl Lawson's going to be a big part of this pass rush.
Absolutely.
We've never had a pass rush. And I don't know. Did he tear his Achilles, or are they still waiting to see?
No, the MRI came out today that he tore his Achilles. He's out for the season, which is
the last time I saw when they carted him off the field earlier that they were like not sure. But I mean, I guess it's always a bad sign when players are around you praying.
Adam Schefter said that they did the MRI in the hospital and it came up a torn Achilles. He's out for the season. And losing, tearing your Achilles, a lot of these players don't come back at full strength. They never do with an injury.
Well, it's especially bad for Carl Lawson because he's tore both ACLs at different points in his career, like in college, then at the beginning of his pro career, now the Achilles. And, listen, I wish him all the best. I'm not hating on him at all, but at his age, with his experience, it's going to be tough to come back from all these injuries.
Absolutely, and that's something that I felt bad for Carl Lawson because I saw his face when they send the picture out on social media. He was in an excruciating amount of pain. He was crying. So you tearing your Achilles, I couldn't. I never tore my Achilles, but
But it does seem fitting that the team that rhymes with Mets is being riddled with injuries right now.
Well, again, Carl Lawson's the only significant loss that the Jets have had, but it's a huge loss. And first of all, I'm not the only one. As you know, with the press coverage that I've said, everybody said that he's looked very beastly in the training camps. But as beastly as he's looked, the guy couldn't stay healthy for at least 1 or 2 games of the season to see what this guy could do. And now, when you talk about Robert Saleh, I didn't hear Robert Saleh's news conference, but obviously it's not going to be. He didn't speak very highly of this injury.
No, it's bad news. It's bad. Everyone's rooting for a dude that's been a talented player, has had a bit of an injury bug, and it just stinks all around. It stinks if you're a Jets fan. It certainly stinks if you're, Carl Lawson. It's just disappointing all the way around, man.
And what do you think so far with training camp? Now, I listened to Roger Goodell the other day. He was at the Jets camp, speaking very highly of the 17 games and with the new some of the new rules that they're bringing in, they're bringing to the game, and obviously the new CBA, the money that they're going to have next year. What are your thoughts to the NFL going into the season with 17 games, which is huge for the first time in NFL history to have 17 games in a season?
Obviously it's going to be big because it's going to be more revenue, but I like it just because, listen, they play kind of 17 games anyways, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, we've dropped one of these garbage preseason games and gotten some real action. And I also like it because it's, an odd number of games now, and we're going to be able to break ties. You're not going to, there's not going to be as many ties. It'll help, teams come back in playoff races, right. And, you'll see some more epic collapses and things like that. And, it's good. I think it's good.
You look at, obviously, Jamal Adams' contract and some of the things that Jamal Adams said after getting – now, Jamal Adams expected the biggest safety contract in NFL history. He didn't get it.
He did get it.
No, he got a $70 million contract, right? He didn't get 86 from –
4 years, 72, I think.
72. He didn't get the biggest contract. Landon Collins.
Annual value, that is the biggest.
Well, Landon Collins got the biggest NFL safety contract.
More years. More years and not as much guaranteed money. Jamal Adams' contract was fully guaranteed, I believe.
Was it fully guaranteed? I'm not sure if it was fully guaranteed. But what were your thoughts with, obviously, that contract since we've been gone and John Gruden not happy with the stupidity of the fights over there at practices with the Raiders and the Rams? Did you see what was going on over there with the fights?
Listen, this happens every year, and every year it gets blown out of proportion. Where one coach who's no fun, i.e. John Gruden, right, is going to, I hate fighting. Oh, great, you hate fighting. But guess what? It shows fire, right? Fights happen every training camp. We got to stop pretending that fights don't happen. They happen in every team, every training camp. It happens, and there's always one coach that's like, oh, I got to stick up my ass for this whole thing. Let him fight, bro.
Only slightly more than half of Jamal Adams' $72 million is guarantees. He gets $38 million guaranteed plus a $20 million signing bonus.
That's big.
Yeah, I still think Landon Collins got the bigger contract, if I'm not mistaken. But you could look it up, Speedy. But I will say this, and I've been reading a lot of these different stories coming out from the NFL, and even with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott got hurt in training camp with his shoulder. Now, he has not – I don't think he's played in one preseason game yet. The first preseason
Couldn't
game.
happen to a better quarterback, huh?
I feel bad for – I just feel bad for him. And the stories coming out about his brother, I think it was today, is sad. It really is. I feel bad for Dak Prescott. I really do. I
feel bad for anyone getting $42 million. Get out of here.
He has no family. He lost his mom. He lost his brother. I mean, what does he have? Money?
He's got his other two brothers.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. When you lose those family members,
it's devastating. No, it's devastating from a family. It's certainly, and I think the brother was a suicide.
Yeah, it was a suicide. He hung himself. Yeah,
it's terribly tragic. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. Dak is definitely a guy I like to hate on, but you don't want to see that for anybody.
No.
I wouldn't, listen, I hate the Beeve too, but I wouldn't want to see it for the Beeve. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to see it if I don't want to see it for the Beeve, I don't want to see it for anybody. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Beeve is right now in Tennessee. He's enjoying a bachelor party. And they actually have, I think a mansion. The whole family.
Only the women of Tennessee might be dumb enough to sleep with the Beeve. Good for him. Went to the one meth-riddled, toothless state where he might have a shot with a girl.
What do you think about the Cowboys and Hard Knocks? Have you watched any of them?
Only in Tennessee is social distancing sleeping with your second cousin instead of your first.
So what in the first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks, and I listened, I'm reading what Carl says. He calls it Card Knocks is garbage because it just follows Prescott and Elliott. What are your thoughts? Have you watched Hard Knocks yet?
I have, and it's trash. Honestly, the only redeeming quality, very seriously, is watching CeeDee Lamb grow into a superstar. He's going to be great. I love this kid.
Unlike somebody we know that thinks that he was willing to trade a safety that was drafted in the second round from Alabama.
Hold on. This didn't happen on air, right? You had called me during that draft, and you had Beeve on the phone. Do you remember me telling the Beeve that he's going to love it? CeeDee Lamb, and Beeve was screaming that he hated it.
Yep. He did.
Hated it.
I have no idea.
This kid's going to be terrible.
I had no idea that CeeDee Lamb was going to fall to 17 when on almost every person's board, he was a top 5 talent. He fell to 17.
It wasn't that dramatic. He was a top 3 receiver, but he wasn't a top 5 talent.
I thought he was. On my board, he was. I thought
but
he was.
He's a terrific player, but he was a terrific player nonetheless. There were other good players in that draft, Ruggs and Judy and and really, with those 3 at that time, you were just splitting hairs on what you preferred.
Right.
And it just so happened the Cowboys got lucky because I think CeeDee Lamb was the 3rd one taken out of that group of 3.
The Raiders took Ruggs at 12, and the Broncos took Judy at 15.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if it had been Ruggs that had fell to them? And Ruggs is really struggling in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
And can you imagine it being that much of a disappointment? Maybe the Beavs would have liked that pick. Who knows?
Probably.
And what are your thoughts to the Cardinals and some of the targets and some of the things that I've been reading? They're at full strength. There's no injuries right now. Arizona and Justin Pugh said a couple of things about the NFL, which is very interesting. Why do you say, oh, God? Did you read what he said?
No, I didn't. But, of course, Justin Pugh was the one.
Why?
I hope David Baker has a size 48 long jacket waiting for a certain player. The Cardinals look good.
Yeah, they do. I'll read what the Cardinals veteran says. The Arizona Cardinals' luck with COVID-19 has been challenging, to say the least. In 2021, only 9 times were Cardinal players on COVID-19 in the list of last year. It was now up to 14 on August 12th, which unfortunately led the league. The Cards just returned running back James Conner, tight end Darrell Daniels, and defensive lineman Aleki Fotu, and safety Charles Washington for reserves of COVID-19 list. Now offensive guard Justin Pugh and defensive tackle Jordan Phillips tested positive in COVID-19. Both are fully vaccinated. Pugh voiced his displeasure of the NFL's COVID-19 testing protocols through social media. So, listen.
The only thing positive about that whole thing, and listen, I don't want to get into protocols and they are what they are because they are what they are for everybody, right? Okay, so that just is what it is. The only benefit to it, really, as long as everybody is healthy by week 1, that it's happening now and not like week 10 or 11 or 12 or when it matters,
Speaking of another ex-Giant, Landon Collins' contract was 6 years, $84 million, and only 31 of it was guaranteed.
So Jamal got a bigger contract
per year, yeah, because his was 4 years. His was 4 years, 72.
There's another story that came out that the Denver Broncos reportedly passed on Justin Fields due to medical concerns, and we all know what those medical concerns were. Speedy, we
all don't know.
Yeah, we do. We talked about it. And we argued about it. Jeff?
We all don't know because I actually think that whole epilepsy story was absolute crap.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, but
let me ask you a question, very seriously, right? Was anyone last year during the college football playoffs like, Ohio State, man, I don't know if they can go all the way because Justin Fields might have an epileptic fit?